this side will be officially lowered. There we go. There. Okay, there's that end. These things are heavy. That takes care of that. Let's lower it down. So yeah, I just had to get it down on the ground, give you guys a sneak peek of what it's going to look like. Look at that. That drive shaft's too long now, and we're going to have to take it out and shorten it. But we were going to have to do that anyway, because remember, we're going to shorten the whole truck down a good 15 inches, I believe is what it's going to end up being. Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. So we're working on the 1966 Chevy 1-ton dually again. We made a homemade bed for it. It was a short stepside bed, and we widened it out so that it would fit over our dually wheels. And well, we lowered the whole truck on the last video, got it sitting down looking real nice, and we need to shorten the truck now. So we're actually going to cut this truck in half, shorten it down, and when we put this bed back on, it ought to fit right. Yeah, you guys see what I'm talking about right here. A little bit of a gap. So all we're going to do, we're just going to shorten the whole truck down, and we're going to bring this right up to here. It's going to look really nice. It's going to look factory. It's going to be short wheelbase. I think it's going to be great. I think step one, we're just going to get this bed off and kind of put it over to the side for now. That might get it. Just high enough. Alright, my big master plan, we're going to set this thing down on these rollers. Well, we got one side sitting on it. So we hit a little snag here. My chain doesn't go far enough down. I didn't take that into consideration. I'm gonna lift it up. Mrs. Beard's gonna help us out and get that chain unhooked. Go ahead, pull that off there. Take your time. Like that ought to get it. Throw us a little protective blanket over the fender, that way we don't rub up against that old girl. Alright, we'll get this wound up out of the way, get the truck back in here, and get to work. So I guess the first thing we should probably do is get rid of this makeshift fuel system. Let's get all this out of the way. That was easy. So I think the next step is I'm going to actually get this thing jacked up, level front to back and side to side. It's looking pretty level. Pretty dang close right there. Just kind of fine tuning it here, making sure everything is nice and level. We are very close. All I'm doing is taking some shims here. This is what you would use if you were installing a window or a door frame in your house. Those work pretty good for getting this thing just dead on. And like I said, that's how close we are, just the thickness of that little shim, and we'll be there. Hopefully y'all can see that on camera, but we are perfect right in the middle. Let's take a second to pull the drive shaft off. The bolts are not in the best shape. Kind of been rounded on just a little bit, so I'm having to tap the wrench on with a hammer to get them to break free, but we've got 2 of them going now. Let's try these other 2. Yeah, see, the wrench just doesn't want to go on there. Okay, there we go. 3 out of 4. Let's see on the 4th one. Maybe turn my wrench around. All right, I think we're in the clear. We'll go ahead and get these the rest of the way off. Get the drive shaft out of the way. Okay, last bolt. There we go. Let's see if we can pry this thing off of here now. Boy, it's on there. There it comes. Don't let your cups fall off. I don't want those to fall off. These U-joints are actually in good shape, so we don't want to mess them up. Okay, there it is, man. That thing was hung up. Did not want to come out of the hole. And the cap was coming off with it. All the little needle bearings, everything was coming out. So anyway, let's put that back on there. Everything is still good. We didn't lose any of the bearings. I'm going to take some tape. I like to run some tape around here. Take note, you know, where the way it comes off. That way you can put it exact. That's what I did with the white paint. You see it there and there. That's just so we could put it back exactly the way it came off. I was always told that kind of stuff will help resist vibrations and things when you're dealing with drive shafts and whatnot. Be able to put them back exactly the way they came off. All right, that's gonna hold our caps on. I'm just gonna sit this down here for now, out of the way. I'm gonna go ahead and put all of these back on so we don't lose them. All right, next step, let's get the pipes off here. They're gonna be way too long after this. Next step's going to be to get this brake line loose. We'll separate it right here under the cab. This is what goes to the back axle, so this will end up needing to get shortened. Okay, just like that. Okay, so I think I got everything ready to go. So to recap, we got drive line loose, brake line is loose, exhausts have been cut. Oh, and don't forget, we've undone the fuel line, so no fuel. I think we're good to go. I think it's time to cut. What we're going to do is we're going to take 15 inches out of this area right here. That ought to set us straight. Before I can even do that, though, I've got to take this big block off, get it out of the way. So I'll come through here and kind of grind at these welds, see if I can't get that to separate from the frame. Okay, I think that might give it. Let's see. I mean, BFH here. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so obviously we're going to repeat the whole process over on the other side too. So the way I got this worked out is I already marked up the other side and it seems to be working out pretty good. So I'm going to do the same exact thing on this side. And what I'm doing is I'm using these holes right here as my lineup. You see these 2 holes in the frame? We're going dead center of those. The exact set of holes are on the other side, so we shouldn't have any problems with it matching up. What I want to do is I want to cut an angle right here like this, and then we'll cut another angle over here like this. That piece will come out. We'll scooch this on up here, and this angle will lay right on top of that angle, giving it something to kind of sit on. We can weld it all up, box it in, fish plate it, whatever we're going to do. So like I said, we want the angle to run this way. Get this thing spun around the right way, and the way I'm going to do this is we're going to slide this on over like this, about right in there. We'll draw us an angle. This will be our first angle here, right? And then we'll come up to the top like this, and we'll get a straight across mark lined up with this mark. We'll get this lined up with our vertical mark there. Come straight across on the top of the frame. You do the same thing on the bottom. You want to go straight across on the top and the bottom, and then an angle on the sides. And so then what we'll do is I'll come over here and I'll measure off of that mark. I'll burn an inch. We'll line it up right there on the 1 inch mark. We're taking out 15 inches, so we'll need to come over here to the 16. Remember, we burn an inch, meaning we just shaved an inch off to allow for the goofy ends on the end of there. You see that? So we're just going to line it up at the 1 inch mark, come over here to 16 inches, which will actually be 15 inches. And then we can make another straight across mark right here. Get that lined up just right. Like that. There's our 15 inches that we're taking out of it. You remember, we got an angle right here, so we're going to want another angle. These things are so confusing sometimes. Oh, I got a bolt sticking out right in the way, looks like. So yeah, let's get the bolt out of the way first. So yeah, this is one of our brake line bolts. We'll get that out of the way, put that back in later. Okay, now that that bolt's out of the way, we can slide that right over to our mark that we made. Right there. Make us another. Look at that. There's our second angle. And then basically what's going to happen is this whole section right here gets cut out. See that? There's our angle. There's our angle. This right here is going to meet up with this right here. They'll lay right on top of it. I know some of you might be asking, why didn't you just chop it straight down? This makes for a longer weld, and it'll be a lot stronger when we're done. Probably what we'll do is end up taking the piece that we cut out, flip it around to the inside, and box the whole section in. It'll make it super strong. This area will actually be stronger than the rest of the frame because it'll be all boxed in and everything. All right, I've made all of my straight cuts, top and bottom on both sides. Now we're gonna go through and make those angled cuts. And at that point, she's gonna be in 2 halves, y'all. There's that side. Okay, one side down, one to go. That is it. She is officially in 2 pieces. If you don't believe me, just check this out. Okay, so now we could cut out the piece that we're getting rid of. Okay, so at this point, we're just gonna start scooching this thing forward till it touches again. I'm gonna scoot these blocks. So what I need to do now is raise up my jack stand one click back there at the back, and I think it'll kind of lock me in right there where I need to be. I think I'm gonna replace that with my jack. That way I can adjust it a little bit easier. Trying to kind of wiggle this thing into place. I'm going to take a few minutes and just go through and bevel my edges. I already did this side. All we're doing is just kind of going along the edge and just working it back just a little bit. We'll do that on both sides. That way when you put the two pieces together, you end up with a little valley, and that's for you to build up your weld in, make a much stronger weld. Okay, after a couple, 3 tries, kind of grinding, test fitting it back together, we've got it. I think it's going to work out great. I'm going to get all this lined up, get some clamps in. We're going to make sure we'll double check everything, make sure everything's square, make sure everything's level, side to side, front to back, and all that stuff. And then we'll start tacking this thing up. Okay, so I think we're about ready for some tack welds. I'm going through and I'm Xing it out. We got 87 3/4 on this side, and we've got 87 3/4 on this side, man. I think we're good to go. We're square, we're level. Double check a couple of things. Yeah, let's get us a good tack weld on each side and we'll go from there. Okay, so we're off to a good start. I've already done both of my top welds. I think I'll skip down and do both of the bottoms. The way I'm doing this, I do a weld on one side, then I come over and do a weld on the other side, and I'm just gonna bounce back and forth until I'm done. Okay, so now we're going to jump over here to the other side and do a weld. Okay, so we've done a total of 4 welds all together. I'll let it cool for just a minute, and then we'll start those diagonal welds, you know, that ran down the sides. You know, it is worth mentioning when you're welding this stuff, you want to let it cool off naturally. Don't force it cool. Don't be blowing air on it. Don't be hitting it with any water or any of that stuff. Let it cool off naturally. Okay, so what I was thinking is that we would take, you know, the piece that we cut out, maybe we could bring it over here now that we've trimmed it down and put it up as side of this area, make like a boxed in area, you know? I figured that would make it super strong. So there's the piece all clamped in. I'm just gonna weld it in, and that area should be nice and strong after that. Well, all right, y'all, check it out. She's officially a short wheelbase truck. We'll go back, we'll cut the end of that off, that goes away, and then that bed is going to fit perfectly on there, and I can't wait to show you guys. But I am going to go ahead and split this up into 2 videos. When we come back, we're going to finish up boxing in the frame on the other side. We're going to shorten the drive shaft. It still needs a C-notch, so we'll have to do that. And then we're going to get that bed on there and show you guys once and for all what this thing is going to look like. It's definitely coming together now, man. I think it looks cool being short already. Look at that. Already, I got one more wheel I got to paint. That other one painted, ended up having a flat tire, so I had to swap it out with another one. So got a little more painting to do. Obviously, when we get the bed back on there, we're going to have to paint it to match the rest of the truck. We're going to have to do our patina. And then we're going to come back and we're going to clear coat the whole truck. So that'll be cool. So still plenty to do on it. But like I said, I got to get on out of here for now. You guys, it's late. And I got to get up early in the morning. I got other things I got to do. And then we'll get back out here and we'll finish this up. So I'll see you guys later. Thanks for joining me.